You were gone forever.
It was 3 days.
I wanted to start by giving you a very formal review of the film from the kids I sat next to.
I love this.
I was in a row with these kids aged about 5 to 10, who possibly weren't born when the first film came. And when it was over, I turned to them and I went, "What did you guys think?" And they all really thought about it. And the oldest boy went, "Well, I think it was probably the best film I've ever seen."
Wow.
Oh, so cool.
I just thought that was so lovely.
You had me on the edge of my seat. I have to be honest. So,
That'd be a terrible start to the interview. I was like, kids hate the film. No, it's so lovely. I think it's really exciting to think about all the kids who have grown up with Moana having been something that's like always existed in their life.
Yeah.
And now they're going to get to go and see it in theaters. So with that in mind, I wanted to start by asking you all about your relationship to the first film and kind of the interaction you had with it before working on this project.
It's funny you say that because I was actually pregnant with my first child when I saw the first Moana. And I very specifically remember thinking in that theater that because Moana exists, my child will never exist in a world where people don't understand what it means to be a Pacific Islander. And as a Pacific Islander, I knew that that would just change the way people saw us. And so I just got to show him the film this last week on a huge screen. And it was really a very special, full circle moment. And it really... He thinks I'm cool now.
My story is actually not as cool, but I started working on the first film in more of a finance capacity, but I was able to work on it from development until the end of the film, which is pretty rare because our films usually take about 5 years to make. And so for me to be able to be on this journey with these two folks, as well as with our other director, Dave Derrick, and fellow producer, Yvette Marino, it's just been the honor of a lifetime. It's really amazing to see how we have so few sequels in our Disney animation legacy, and to be able to actually see the expansion of Moana's story has been really exciting.
And a sequel on the big screen as well is such a treat.
Yeah, I worked on the first film, like Christina was saying. I was a story artist on it, and I loved working on it so much. I loved the characters. That's really how I connect into stories, is through the characters and their interactions. And when it started to come together, I knew it was a really special movie. There was that incredible scene with Moana in the ocean. I just found it to be enchanting in a way that I knew when audiences saw it, they would fall in love with it. So when it came out, it's still the film that my family that I've worked on goes back and watches over and over again. It seems like a lot of people are doing the same thing. So I'm just incredibly proud to be part of it. And then when the opportunity came from this one, obviously I wanted to be a part of it. Because like I said, I really love these characters. The world especially is so beautiful. I can look at the water all day and just go on and on and on about how beautiful I think it is. And so that was really important, is that we got all of those elements right, the characters in this world.
Before Maui stole Te Fiti's heart, our ancestors wanted to connect our island to all the people of the entire ocean. It's my job as a wayfinder to finish what they started.
I think it's going to take a lot of people back somewhere special. I watched it with my family in New Zealand, so it's really special to see it again and feel close to them. Moana is sort of this beautiful, it's one of Disney's modern classics, coming-of-age story, figuring out who you are, connecting your culture back to something they've lost. Where do we come in for Moana 2?
Ooh, we come in 3 years later. I love that you said that, because the first film really is about connecting to her past and figuring out who she is. And that was really intentional when we were creating this film, that we wanted to push her beyond that. Part of growing up is learning that you have to continue to change. One of my favorite lines in the film is that when, oh my goodness, I am such a mush mouth today. I apologize. One of my favorite lines in the film is when Moana's talking to Grandma Tala, and Grandma Tala says, "You never stop choosing who you are." I think that's a really important lesson that we all have to learn. And Moana learns it in a pretty tough way, in that she has to leave her little sister behind to go create a better future for her, which I think as we grow up, we all learn that life has consequences we're not always ready to face. And this one's just pretty big.
It's a huge film, and there's a really lovely parallel to the kind of story of the film about going beyond, in that this project started as a series, and then there comes a point where you're screening first looks and everyone is just saying, this is a film. Can you talk me through a little bit? Is that scary? Is that exciting? I'm sure it's a bit of a mix of things. What was that process like?
I think it was actually incredibly exciting to make it into a feature. We knew we were telling a story that was worthy of that, and so as we screened it, and in a sense the film started to tell us what it needed to be, or the show turned it into that. But it's part of this organic growth that actually it came, and all of our films go through that, but this one took an especially a pretty big change. But that allowed us to have so much fun to put the best visuals up on a biggest screen possible. So it was exciting for us, actually. And I think we all, once we made that choice, we just worked as hard as we possibly can to make it worthy of the biggest screen.
Yeah, it's deeply liberating in a lot of ways because when you think about all the formats that you can film on a big screen, like 40X or stereo or IMAX, you don't have that kind of capacity when it just is streaming on episodic. And so to be able to tell this type of a story in that scope on those types of platforms, it just gave us a lot of freedom to be able to explore visually how far we could go.
I think in that evolution as well, you get some really beautiful imprints of episodic storytelling. For me, I think a really positive influence is the focus on the ensemble in this film. There are so many characters and we get to spend so much time with them. You know, we have Moana and Maui back, but we have growth in Moana's family. We have this whole crew voyaging. We see the community of the island. We see these mysterious antagonists. Can you tell me a bit more about some of the characters we'll meet in this film?
Absolutely. We had a lot of fun creating Moana's crew in particular. We realized we'd never actually seen Moana lead her people in real time. And so the idea of making her go out on a canoe on an epic voyage with other people and a coconut and a pig and a chicken.
Crucially, we get more people.
Yeah, it was really exciting to us. Plus, it meant that we were going to get to cast an incredible voice talent that wouldn't necessarily get to be in a Disney animated film. We have David Fane, Rose Matafeo. We have Hula Lai Chung, he is Moni in so many ways. Has been really special. But we also have Afimai Fraser. You mentioned these mysterious characters that we have. It allowed us to create so many different versions of what it means to be a Pacific Islander in so many ways, and it was really exciting.
So much fun. I can't stop turning over David Fane's line, "I'm gonna eat that chicken."
Yeah, you're from New Zealand, you get it.
This is a call from the ancestors.
Hidden in a terrible storm, it's an ancient island. Setting foot on its sands would break the curse, bring our people together again.
I know what I have to do. Maui, I could really use your help.
I mean, we have to talk about the visuals because everything in this film's so gorgeous, but just with the technology that we have now, the visuals are on a whole nother level. There's some stuff that I think people will have never seen before, especially thinking about that storm in Act 3. Can you tell me a little bit about the years of work that go into something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that you say that because the storm we're so proud of, it's... You know, the first film in Te Kā was an incredible end set piece, and we really wanted to make sure we were not going smaller than that. We had no idea that our crew was going to go as far as they did. It was really this incredible collaboration across so many different departments. And once we started seeing some of those shots rendered, there's an incredible, the swell of the water, the Beaufort scale, I think. I don't know. And all of these incredibly technical terms, but we actually really pushed for it to be like a strange beauty. You mentioned the beauty of this world. And we wanted to, even though it's a storm, we wanted it to look incredible. We wanted to make sure it felt like a storm that was in the Moana world. And so the color palette that's used, there's actually Tatau designs within the lightning if you look closely. So we had a lot of fun creating that. And just, we were so blown away when we started seeing the shots rendered for the first time, but that technologically was something we would not have been able to achieve in the first film. So just the entire crew came together and just all their passion poured into it.
It's really amazing. And then going hand in hand with that is the music. People will be familiar with the music in Moana. It's beautiful, it's iconic. I love the mix of kind of returning and new talent that you bring in. You have Opataya Fuai and Mark Mancino, who worked on the first film. But then you also have this fresh voice in the duo Barlow and Bear, Abigail Barlow and Emily Bear, who some people might know from the unofficial Bridgerton musical. Can you talk to me about the musical process of the film, bringing those two in particular, and what you wanted them to add to the voice, I guess?
I think we all feel really fortunate that we have Emily and Abigail on this journey with us. They're two exceptional songwriters, but they also bring so much heart to this role. And, in so many ways, their journey on this film mirrors Moana. They're two young women who have really pushed beyond the boundaries of maybe what was expected of them, gone farther than so many people before them. And they're growing up at the same time Moana is. So when we're talking to them about what the songs need to feel like and mean, in a lot of ways they had a shorthand to that emotional journey because they're like, we're living that right now. We are Moana in a lot of ways. And it was exciting to see them explore this idea of self-evolution and growth.
This is cheeky, but do you guys have a favorite piece of music from the film?
I love Beyond.
It's hard. Yeah. I love Get Lost. I think it has a really cool message and it's such a blast to listen to.
Yeah, Can I Get a Chihu is easily my favorite. I love the character Maui. I love that we've sort of turned like something like You're Welcome around completely. And actually, you know, in that song, he was really talking about himself. And this is really all about Moana and that he's giving back to Moana what he gave to her, or what she gave to him, I'm sorry. And that was such a fun... It's a fun message, but it's wrapped up in this really crazy pump-up song that I think is hilarious and fun. And talk about the visual storytelling. I enjoyed making that one so much. It's such an incredible visual set piece. So I think every step of the way that song just was so much fun to work on, and I just love listening to it still.
There's a visual gag in that I won't spoil, but it's so funny.
There's a couple of them in there, yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm so curious.
I know.
There's a really lovely, like I said, kind of mirroring of this film's bigness, hugeness to the journey that Moana takes, taking her beyond.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask all of you if there's sort of a lesson or a growth that's come out of this process for you working on the film.
You know, I've really learned that I'm capable of a lot more than I realized. This is my first time working in animation, first time directing, and so to see that we could get through it and I think create something pretty special really proved to me that I can do more than I realized.
Yeah, you know, within the film, there's such a strong emphasis on the idea that we're stronger together in community, and that was so proven out across every aspect of this film. It's an incredible collaboration across our studio, our cast, our songwriters. When it all comes together, it's this incredible feeling to see something that none of us individually could have created, and it's so much bigger than all of us. So I feel so proud to be part of that. So I think that for me is what I take away from it.
I think for me, like one of the reasons why I like the song Get Lost so much is that a lot of it resonates with what we learned from one of our cultural consultants, Noah Thompson. And none of us have really been lost on a canoe before. And I remember a conversation that you had with him that I always think about, where he had told you that getting lost is a pathway to magic, and that he actually, as a navigator, when he gets lost, he realizes that's where he finds his true north, so to speak. And this song touches upon that in the sense that sometimes getting lost is okay because it helps you realize that there's always another way to get where you need to go. And that's, I think, really mirroring a nice way of the filmmaking process, too. So that's been a lesson I've taken away from it.
What if you don't come back?
I'll be back. I promise.
We're a cinema podcast, so we're really excited to be bringing audiences into theatres for this to experience together. I was wondering if you guys had a sort of message or anything you want people to take into the film, take away from the film, and perhaps kind of warn them about something maybe that happens in the mid-credits area?
Don't rush out of the theater, is what I'll say. But go to the theater. I think this is a film meant to be seen on the big screen, and I hope that when you go see it, that you are entertained and you feel the joy and the love that we put into making it.
For me, that's the most important one. I make films because I love to go to films and be entertained, and that's what the whole point of this was. It has incredible messages within it. It has incredible music, but really it's about going and actually, you know, escaping yourself or finding something in yourself up on screen. I've found that my whole entire life is why I go to the movies. I hope people get that from this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I hope people just laugh and cry from it. I mean, it's so beautifully, like, emotional, but there's also some really rich comedic parts, and I think that the animators do such a great job in imbuing really small comedic moments, and that I would just recommend people watch it over and over again, because I feel like even as I'm watching, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot that they did this one thing, so definitely keep on watching it.
I'm ready to go back.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for
Thank
joining
you.
me. Congratulations
you.
on the film.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much.
Bring it on, Coco.
Nuts.
Thank you for watching Picture House Cinema's unique video content. Hit the subscribe button to be kept up to date with our movie news, cast and crew interviews, highlights, trailers, and lots more.